I guess it looks like we're live.
All right, here we go.
So before we get going,
Here we go. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, I usually say, if you're new to my channel or something, you can check out my links. But I got a link to you. I think I put you first.
Why would you put me first?
Because you're more important.
You're Big Will. You're the one who makes it rain.
Okay, so the other thing is, people usually draw during this.
Do they?
So if you feel like drawing, you can too. If you get bored with our conversation.
Are you gonna draw?
No.
You're gonna draw? You do that? You're like, I'm bored with Mel already drawing.
No.
All right.
So what were you were just talking. You were just asking me
why you threw me under the bus first.
Why I threw you under the bus this morning. First, I have to show that.
Go ahead and show it.
Let's see if I can do it. Let's see. Share my screen. Yeah, there we go. Present to everyone.
That's good. See, so the 0% on Rotten Tomatoes is what hurt.
I had to do this. It's like this idea that just popped in my head. You think I'm messing with you, but it's more of a love tap. You know what I mean? It's more of a. I when I get a good idea, I have to run with it.
Well, the thing is you've been calling me that for how long now?
I know.
So for it to just show up, it was.
I know. And then
I like the little outhouse in the back. Because I just came from the morning dudes, so is what you're saying. So I love the whole storytelling.
It's the little things that count.
Yes.
Then to finish the story, you put this one up.
Mine wasn't as good as yours.
No, it's awesome.
I was in a rush. That's how I felt. Like me and you, Will. I'll break your hair anytime.
All right. Well, this isn't. People aren't paying for this. They want to know about Kickstarter. So let's stop presenting here. There we go.
So let's go, man. You're all set. How are you feeling?
So this is if you're watching this. Well, today is the 9th of April, so some people are going to come to this later.
Right.
But on the 9th of April, I just launched I'm sorry. We're recording this on the 9th of April. On the 12th, on Tuesday, is when I'm launching my Kickstarter. So it's already launched right now, as you guys are watching it right now. And I've got a link to that below too. And we're also going to talk about the fact that you are going to launch your Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Are you still planning on the 26th? You don't have to.
Under the bus again. No.
I already said if you ever have a question that you don't want to answer, then
there's like some magical well of questions that I don't know about.
Just say next question.
No. Go ahead. No, I know.
So at some point in the future, I'm not going to commit you. It might be next week.
I'm shooting for the 26th as we had talked about.
Okay.
But yeah, the nerves are going. So.
Okay, so that's one of the things I want to talk about. Let's talk about that first, because the title, I put fear in the title.
So let's go with you first.
Okay.
Thing is yours is. Let me ask you that question.
I'm scared right now.
I don't know. How does it feel though?
Because I don't know. Well, here's the thing. The reason I wanted to do this podcast was I wanted to do one before we knew what was going to happen.
Right.
Right. Which is the fear of the unknown is the biggest fear that we ever face in our lives. Right.
Right.
I mean, until you've done something, you're usually you have trepidation. You're a little, and plus I'm worse off than you. I'm coming off of a failed Kickstarter back in 2012.
I think that's better. I think
it's taken 4 years to get on the bike again, right?
Right. But I think that's a great thing for you, is to have that failure. That's why I said I haven't even moved forward with a lot of my goals because of all that fear of failure. And I think once you get past that is where the good stuff is. So I think you're in a great spot for that.
Unless I fail again.
But then again, it's like if you keep going until it hits. But as we discussed, I see this time around, regardless of the nerves, I know that like I said, you put a lot of heart into it.
Right.
So that's to me.
Well, and that might bring up another question: is does if you do fail at something like this, and I'm not just talking about myself, I'm talking about
right. No,
everybody. I'm
this
talking
dude,
about anybody,
right?
that tries to do something like this. I think one of the problems is we tend to let that define us, right? We tend to say, well, I'm a failure, or I did something stupid and I should have never done it, and I should have known better, and I'll never do that again,
Right.
right? So some people never recover from that sort of thing. Um, but it is a lot of pressure, right? I mean, it's a lot of pressure to announce to the world, I have put myself out there in this form, and I really hope you guys like it. And if they don't, it sure is going to hurt, right?
Right. That's what like when I've talked to you, it's like you've had that experience.
Right.
You've got that. I mean, but in the same sense, we both did that with Comic Con. Like both of our
That's
first
right.
Comic Cons, where it was. I mean, on the outside, when people talk to me afterwards, was they, because I was so happy about it, they considered it a success. They're like, oh Mel, but my wallet was crying. Right? I'm sitting here going, I failed. And there was a part of me that didn't want to do it. I mean, I even stated after the fact, I'm not doing anymore. I won't do anymore. And
Yeah.
not, it was one, it's not my realm. I don't understand it. So a lot of it is that, and then like this Kickstarter thing, I don't understand it. I don't get it. I mean, I understand it, but I don't see me in that world, and so it's a nerve-wracking thing,
Well, and I think it goes back to, also, it's like if you're selling something that someone else created, you're selling a product, or like a sandwich, you're working at McDonald's or something, or you're working at some retail store. If somebody gets upset or doesn't like the product or ignores the product or whatever, then it's not personal. But
Right.
when you've made this, you put your heart and soul into something, and you made it. And that's why I wanted to talk a little bit about why my first one failed, because I think sometimes I think I learned so much from that. And I think you're right in an extent that it's a blessing to have gone through that, because of all the lessons that I did learn. And one of them was just the I guess the first one would just be just the way people work and what people value. And I was trying to sell an app for the iPad, a story app, and people don't spend money on apps typically. You know what I mean? It's just, people just don't want to spend money on an
Right.
app.
Right.
And so because they're and I learned that was a huge lesson, was learning that Kickstarter is really probably mostly about physical goods, unless you're maybe a game studio, don't you think?
Yeah. No. You've you see the guys who do that have done established games before,
Yeah.
where you were kind of teetering. It was like, hey, here's this technology, and again, like I said, I noticed from your first Kickstarter that there was too many things you were second guessing yourself on,
Oh yeah.
and so I think that's what it is. That's why I was saying, like the Comic Con thing. It's like we both went into it like, yeah, even when I talked to you about doing it, I mean, I saw you as this is your realm, this is where you're going to be successful at, and you were like, no, man, I'm a children's book, Comic Con, this is totally not me,
Right.
and I remember that first day when I pulled you aside and we walked, and I was like, look, Will, this and that and the other, and your look on your face was what have I done? Like this is, I'm a little nervous here because I didn't. But as the day towards the end of it, it's like even through that failure, you saw it faster than I saw it. Like here's this. It's not that it's not your realm. The people were there, but there was just things where like you didn't take into consideration, right? I mean, you try to hedge your bets on certain things, but there was things that you didn't know without stepping foot into that realm.
Right.
But now, like I said, Fan X, it was complete. You would, for me, from the outside, that's why I said, well, looking at you, it would like, oh, Will does, what is he, 20-year veteran of Comic Con, and it was, you had more fun, you were more laid back, you were in your realm, you were in your zone, and so, and I think that's where that's what I saw when I saw you, when I first initially was like, man, Will would do really good at this, especially like Salt Lake. You fit, and watching how much the people loved your work. It was like, there you go. But sometimes you don't see it because you know, and that's what I'm saying with Kickstarter. I am.
Tell us. Why don't you tell what you're going to do, and when you're talking about it?
Right. So my thing is since 2007, I've wanted to do a sketchbook. Not even really to sell. Same thing with Comic-Con. I was like, I want to do a Comic-Con, just like a bucket list. I want to get this thing off my list, as a creative, set a goal, and say, I attain that goal. Now, regardless if I fail at it or not, just have a goal that I set down. So, so last year, I was like, this is the year. I didn't even put it out there. By the end of the year, I'm gonna print, right? I'm gonna get my art book, put it together. And December, I can't remember. It was. I was pushing it, and I remember me and my wife were just putting it together, and it was like, just send it, print it, just print it, just print it, because I need to physically have it in my hands to sit and say I attained this goal, and I didn't want to make it another year, because that's 9 years that this thing has been in the making, and I did it, and I'm telling you, it was the most. Not even the selling it. It wasn't even the selling. It was having it actually made. And here's a goal that I accomplished. Felt really good. Right. And I put it out there, and people are like, "Hey, I'll buy it." And there's a part of me that's like feels, it's like my wife. It's like I'm pretty successful at not making money. You know what I'm saying? It's like here's an opportunity for you to make money, and I look, and I'm like, and I think that's what everybody looks at me as like, here's this opportunity to make money. And I think every artist wants to make money, but I have to ask myself, why is it that what is holding me back? And there's a part of that, like I said, is I keep saying to myself, this is not my realm. I'm not like my drawings aren't, I don't get paid for that. Right. Every job I had, I think 6 months out of, I've had a creative career for 20 years. And out of that 20 years, drawing, actually making money off of drawing has been 6 to 9 months,
Well, and isn't there something about, so the artwork that you're creating now, that I'm creating now for my book, and the artwork you're creating for your book, it's something that you're doing. There is no assignment. There is no art director. Right. There is no marketing team behind it. There's no,
deadlines,
deadlines or anything. And so I think that one of the problems that we run into also, and I see it in you as well, is that we're kind of afraid to say, because we give these gifts. When you put your stuff online, again, you can follow Mel. Yours is Mel Made Dukes, is a blog spot, right?
Oh,
just Mel Made.
It's melmade.blogspot.com.
Okay.
Mel Made Dukes is my Instagram.
Okay, is your Instagram.
Right.
And people that are following you on those channels and on Facebook and everything, when you post your artwork, when I post my artwork, it's free.
Right.
And that's what artists do. Artists give gifts, right?
Right.
Artists that are being true to themselves do something for themselves that other people can find value in.
Right.
When you try to put a monetary amount on that, you start to feel, I think, like you're in some ways perverting the process, like it's backwards, or there's something getting in the way. Now I'm asking you for money, right? And does that put a lump in your throat, kind of?
Well, that's why I said with me the Kickstarter is for the last 3 years I haven't been working. I was like, look, I'm gonna take that time and raise my daughter, but there's a point where it's like I want to go back to work, but I've already been so far out of it that it's like I don't see me going back to a studio. I don't want to do that, right?
You're like the horse that got loose.
All right. Yeah, I got free for a little bit. Right?
There's no way you can't be contained again.
I can't go back to that. And it's not that I would. There's ideas of going back to that because I miss, like I said, it's like, where do you get that creative outlet, especially like being at home? That's why I was like, that's why I gravitate towards you, because I sit and I go, for someone who hasn't stepped into that realm, you've been running free, you've been taking the reins, and like I said, I sit and I look and I'm like, how when you say you're nervous about doing this Kickstarter, to me, it's like, well, what do you mean? Will, you do these things. You're in front of the camera. You're there. You've been running free this whole time, making your own choices. And so, but even then, that's why I said from the outside looking, it's well, why would he be nervous, right? Well, why would you be nervous? But it's still there, and it's like, trying to whittle that down to find out why are you there. That's what the last 3 years for me has been, just the time that I can do my art, just do the art. Don't, here's a time where I, like you said, there's no pressure, there's no money, but as soon as I notice, like people, hey, do commissions, do this, all of a sudden my tension levels are here, up, and my tension levels, the more people that follow, the tension level goes, because it's like, I have no clue what I'm doing,
Right.
but I try to put that aside, like, people don't see right before I post how I berate myself, how I'm like, it's horrible, it's poop. Oh, like, what were you doing? And then, and then when it's there, once it's posted, it's like, you know what, then I just like, I pour over it and be like, oh, there's a mistake, but I'm not so sensitive in that moment, and so I've conditioned myself as that's a workout. It's like, I always still complain, but the end of it, I always like, like, I know it's hard to keep doing it. That's why it's to keep on keeping on. I know as an artist, I sit, especially now more so, that like I said, don't have assignments. I don't have this. There's a part of me who wants to go to work, but I want to deliver my best work. And the best work, you're never gonna. I for myself, I know I'm never gonna attain my best work. It's still there. We chase it and we keep trying to push ourselves to get there, but you can't really even see what that looks like unless you do it constantly, right? And so that's the trick, is like your mind starts telling you with all that fear, like, I'll never be that good. And it's like, I've realized, just be okay with never being that good. You're never, as soon as you attain something else, you're like, I'm off for something greater. And you start moving so fast, you don't realize how many of these goals that you set that you're attaining. And that's why I'm sitting here going, like, I need to attain this goal. So coming back to the Kickstarter thing, it's like, everybody's like, well, you print your book, you sell it. And I'm going around, I'm like, this is costing an arm and a leg. This is not something you could just, like, I mean, for me, I'm new into this, so I sit and I'm like, the printing process, the shipping process, all this stuff has been like, wait, what? I can't. And so, like, I shut down, beforehand, like we were talking when I came over to your house, and I was like, I know I want to do a Kickstarter. I want to get my book because there's people that want it. I just don't know how to do that without going broke, without sitting here going like,
well, and we know somebody, just to, like, as a sidebar, when you're talking about the fears of the logistics of actually running the business side, because doing a Kickstarter project is basically launching a product without having to go through setting up a whole store yourself, that the platform has already been created. But we both know somebody who made close to 6 figures on Kickstarter and only profited about $1,000.
Right. And that's scary.
That's a story that probably won't ever get out. For which actual Kickstarter it was. There have been Kickstarters that have lost money where they didn't ask for enough money, and so they couldn't produce the product, and there's all kinds of bad stories. But there's also tons of successes, and
of course.
And what you're talking about is the logistics of knowing how much to charge for shipping, because this person that I'm talking about lost all their profit on shipping because they didn't charge enough. They didn't do the research and find out how much shipping to charge. And luckily, we're actually benefiting from that knowledge, right?
Right. No, but even then, even having that knowledge is still a scary thing. That's I guess that's the thing. It's like even though something, here's this. It's once you get past the like, look what so-and-so made on his Kickstarter. And it's like, wow, you could do that, or you can make this kind of money, and it'd be like money. And it's like, well, wait a second, it's not exactly what you think. You see those people who are like, well, they got $1 million, and but in reality, it's like after taxes and after this and after that, it's like whittles down to a little bit, and then everybody and their mom's like, hey, we want money, and it's like, what do you think I am? I'm rich, and they implode because they, like, you see those people, because there's an idea outside of their world that sees what success is, you know,
Right.
without really engaged into what's really going on. So that's why I've kind of been steering clear of it, because it's like I'm not the brightest bulb in the box, right?
Well,
You know,
you're inviting a lot of work. You know that you're okay when you, like I was going back to you, when you post something on Instagram or on Facebook, there is no contract, and so if someone
no,
doesn't like it, they could say whatever they want, and
right.
you don't care.
I don't.
Once money has changed hands, now you have a responsibility to that person to keep your promise, to keep, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
to deliver exactly what you said, not to misrepresent. And that's actually one of the things I really love about Kickstarter. If you make a product, right, and then you sell it to a middleman, or the middleman hires you to make that product, so you know you worked for Disney, but if you're working for someone else, and it might not be in the art world, it might be in any walk of life, but when the sales team gets a hold of it and they start to sell it, sometimes as the artist, you're feeling like they're over promising. That's not what we agreed on. That's
right.
not what, like, and now you're worried about the consumer because they know that ultimately it kind of ties back to you. Whereas on Kickstarter, because your name is on it, like when you launch yours, mine's already launched, but when you launch yours, the buck stops with you. All that pressure is
Thanks,
on
dude.
you.
I'm not launching mine. You say it that way, I'm like, yeah.
But in a good way, what it'll do though is you're gonna, as you put your Kickstarter out there, you're not gonna lie about what you're actually going to deliver, right? I mean, you're gonna be as upfront as you possibly can be, and transparent as you possibly can be, in saying, look, this is what I've been doing, this is what I've made, and this is what you can have for this price. And if you want it, you can. I think it's an amazing thing. I think technology. I mean, when in the history of the world has an artist been able to take their goods and their products to market directly? There's always been a middleman. Always.
Right.
Some people could say, "Well, Kickstarter's a middleman." I don't really put it in the same realm. In fact, they don't. They really don't police what you're selling. They don't have anything to do with, massaging your campaign or anything like that. They're a facilitator.
Right.
They're not a middleman.
Like,
and yeah, they do take a small cut, but yeah. So anyway, yeah, I mean, so we both have talked privately about the fears of doing this, the responsibilities, the extra workload. But in the end, aren't you excited to have yours out there so that people can have it? I mean, people.
Well,
right?
well, like I said, I think my excitement is coming from when that actual starts. If it fails, I look at it as when we discuss that, right? It's like I hope there's enough people that want the book that it funds, and
All right, I'm gonna interject it. I'm gonna say this.
But
I'm gonna say this. So I have a pretty good Facebook. I use my personal Facebook account, and I just started recently using my business page. And I'm on Facebook every day, too much sometimes,
No, I get in trouble.
You're the only artist that I know, the only one that gets the kind of engagement that you get of people basically that have been begging you to do a book.
They feel bad for me.
No.
They feel bad. They're like, Will.
No. We all want.
I'm surprised. Seriously, I get surprised how many people on Facebook have been so nice to me for just doing these dukes. Like I never even meant it to be that. It was just like you're saying. I'm just doing it for me.
Right.
So when somebody comes up, it's like, man, I love what you do, and it's like I understand that. But as the years, I can't remember how many years I've been on Facebook. But as the years goes, it's like I've made all these friends, and I'm like going to CTN and seeing them. It's like, wow, this is an amazing experience. And it's like. And I think it's the personal part of it, right? Where it's like you have, well, at least for me, it was like, it was easy in the beginning to talk to people. Whereas now it's getting more where it's like, it's becoming you know, like I said, it's like I want the book. I want to get it out there. And I noticed that I get more high strung. I'm like, wind starts blowing, I'm all high strung. You know this. It's like, whoa.
Right.
Like,
Right.
Mel, your wife's calling me a wuss. That's horrible. When somebody else's wife is calling you a wuss, that's just like,
Did my wife
man.
say that?
I can't remember. It was
She said
it was because I was a wimp. I was a wimp. I just turned it into
I think
because
she said something.
no.
She's
But you know,
direct. She's direct.
yeah,
That's
no.
why I don't have her on the show, actually, because she would
My
tell
wife's
everybody a lot of things, and then the whole channel would implode.
oh,
She's right,
oh
though.
no
I'll tell
no
you that.
no because my wife would be on here talking about how Will's making millions and that likes don't feed anybody or pay bills. So no, so like I said, it's there's with that pressure comes the idea of, you know, like this could sell a bunch of books. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? With having people that are following, but we, you know, it's like I know that there's people just being supportive, and I think for me, see, like your realm is, you know, is this in my mind, you know, don't. I'm just sitting here saying when I look at Will Terry, it's established artist who's doing, you know, you've been printed, you've been published, you've done these things on your own, mind you, for a long time. So I
Mhm.
look and I'm like, here's you, I'm delivering. You know what an end product goal is going to be. Here's an end product. This is
Right.
what it looks like. And I, on the other hand, it's like I've done that for studios, but I've never done it for me, you know,
Right.
like to sit and say, okay, so the sketchbook, you know, like I said, was like, let me print it off, and it was nice to have it in my hand, and you know, to give the ones that I printed away as gifts was a good feeling, right?
Right.
Because it was like I know the people that got it knew how special that book was to me. You know, that the book that I'm Kickstarter is really special to me because it was probably one of my a major milestone of the goals that I've set for myself, right?
Right.
You know, and the Kickstarter will be the second one because it's one of those ones where I've been trying to figure out, you know, how to become a paid artist.
Don't
How do
give
you
me that.
become? No, you see, that's the funny thing is, just, you know, like people ought to be like I've had people come into my office go like, man, you could all the drawings in here you could sell, and it's like, uh, really? You know, like I will give freely those things to people, anybody that's around me. But there comes a point where that's what I'm saying. It's like I've never considered it. You know, like the little bit that I was a concept artist, I was like, man, I hate this. And it wasn't because I didn't like drawing, but it wasn't free, right?
Right.
It's
Right.
like animation. I love going into animation because it's like animation. Somebody can say, "Hey, this is what we were expecting," and I can kind of add my little things to it and take it away. But I don't take it as personally as I do if I'm just sketching at home. You know, where it's like I don't have anybody sitting here saying I want this product to be this pristine and this. It's just like I want to get better. I
Right.
want to push myself. I want to be able to sit and be my own art director and say, look, that's not good enough. Keep going. But being in a nurturing environment that I can keep that going. You know what I'm saying? Keep it moving so where it's like, so the book is I'm still like that book, as happy as I am with it, there's, you know, I'm sitting there going, man, I can't sell this. Let me wait for the next one.
Right. Right.
You know, when I'm really good. But you know, every year that I do that, it's like I know that I've been improving, but I'm sitting here going like it's not good enough as a final product. Does
Right.
that make sense? It's
Yeah.
like
Totally.
I sit and so to me, it's I'm putting the Kickstarter out there. You know, get the books in the hands of people that want it, and then I can, you know, them that it's like doing the research to try. You know, I want to make a little bit of money off of it so that I can say, hey, I attained a goal of selling something of mine, and and
Am I distracting you by going?
no, like what am I going through for the next bit? You know, like what's the
Right.
next goal? And so I need to get this one off my plate, regardless if it goes or not. You know, that's not me, but I know my excitement is coming from, hey, here's this goal coming up,
Right.
and you know, like I said, when I printed the book, like when I sent that button, you know, push the send button for that book, it was one of the better feelings I've had in my whole entire career. Just because, like I said, it was a monumental moment for me to be able to say, print it up. Oh, it's horrible, but it was already out. Right? I do that exact same thing every day, every time I post.
Wait, you're talking about the book that you gave me? Because you, okay, so you printed 10 of these.
Yeah.
On which site did you do it on?
Blurb.
On Blurb.
I printed on Blurb. And my thing was like, release it on Blurb. So what was the point? Why not release it on Blurb?
Right.
And the thing was, it was like, wow, after all is said and done, it's like, it was way expensive, for the book, unless it goes. So I look at them like, if it can get, a bigger run of a print, then it's like, oh, but I'm sitting here going like, man, all the sketchbooks that I sold, there's a certain price range, and you're sitting here going, I can't hit that price range.
Right.
And it's like, and then on top of that, ship it out. I've shipped one thing overseas, and the person who I shipped it to, I was nervous the whole time, and it was just drawings, and it cost me an arm and a leg, and I'm like,
and that's because you didn't take advantage of using a traditional printer where you can print over 1,000 books and get the cost way down.
Right. And so my thing was, and the other thing is it's like, as much as I'd like to say, oh, let me go ahead and print a couple thousand books, I don't want to do, like, I enjoy going to conventions. We'd already discussed this, but it's like, it's such an emotional drain for me. It's like, I love seeing the people. I love being amped up. I love that whole environment, but it's like, it's so draining being out there and being like, hey, I want to do my art and keep doing this, but feeling like I'm not hitting a goal that I've set out for myself. It's like it's almost like I don't want to get too enamored with it. I enjoy the process, but at this point, I want to be able to sit and say, I want a sustainable career. I want something that I'm in charge of, but is sustainable. That's realistic to be able to sit and say, you know what? That's what we're all chasing. It's like everybody wants to have security, right?
Right.
I think it's like there isn't security. I mean, you can find security in anything, but the thing is it's like, step away from the studio and then do it for yourself. That's what I said. It's like when you're in a studio, you're being hand fed all your stuff, so it's a hard thing to leave, but now that I've been doing this, it's like, I don't want to get caught doing something and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, this is successful. This will make you money. Do it. But forget the reason why I did, like I said, like I lost the reason why I enjoyed art when I was at the studio and I didn't understand why, and then it's like, that's my fear is to do art at home. Is like, I want it to be that what it is now, but make money off of it. But I'm like, how do you do that?
Well, you're going to do it. And these are,
this is a project that leads to that.
What I've been showing is some of the art that's going to be in your book. How many, so these are things that you, as an artist, you have to get out, right? So during the day when you find time, you draw these things for you. You're not drawing them when you started out. And I know these are leading questions that I'm asking and stuff. But I mean, I know you in the short time that I've known you, you're one of those, you're an artist where you have to get it out. Right. And when you haven't been able to draw for a while, you probably get cranky, right?
Oh, my wife would be like, "Oh yeah, go talk to Will," is what she said. Go talk to Will. Go talk to that guy.
So anyway, you're creating all these, and you're just putting these in the book. Is that Mika?
Yeah. I'm waiting for her to bust in. Then she'll take over the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah. we better get going before she gets in there.
I know.
So that's your book, is basically all the people that have fallen in love with the stuff that you're doing. A lot of them are going to want a tangible copy. And again, going back to the first lesson that I learned on Kickstarter was not having a real reward, something that, I'm going to pay money, but I'm going to end up with. And I think a lot of people were thinking on mine, my original one is I was trying to charge $10 for the app,
right.
Because without actually getting, and I was looking for money to pay the voice actor, to pay the developer, to pay for sounds.
But again, the people ain't going to see that in the end. right?
And the other thing they know in the back of their mind, which I wasn't willing to admit, is that they were going to say, well, he'll eventually be offering this for $2 or $3 or $1.99 or even 99
Right,
cents on the App Store, and why am I going to pay $10 for it now? What do I get
right,
for paying that? And that's, I want to move into a different realm of, you know, the logic or the psychology of Kickstarter. I think a lot of people, and I myself included, back in 2012, I thought, well, it's a charity. You know what I mean?
right,
It's like somebody that really cares about what you're doing, and they want to donate to your cause. You know, and back when Kickstarter first launched, you saw a lot of videos on Kickstarter of people saying, you know, going, please, 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 please donate to my Kickstarter.
right,
Please help me get this project done. And you know, people are definitely altruistic when they feel a need. You know, and I don't want to say that there shouldn't be any of that, because there definitely is still on Kickstarter. But I would say our primary motivations in life are selfish. You know what I mean? Our primary, like
of
you know,
course,
you go driving around outside, and if you polled 100 people, what are you doing right now? They're doing something for themselves, something for their life. It might be something work related, it might be something that running an errand, but in the end, it's going to lead back to something that's going to make it better for them in their lives.
right,
That's just the way life is. We have to spend most of our time taking care of our families and our spouses and our kids and ourselves before we can think about being altruistic. So I think that same percentage probably holds on Kickstarter, where you know most of the people that are cruising around on Kickstarter have either gone there from a link they've seen, you know, like I'm sure you're going to share links from
yeah,
yours, Kickstarter, or on Instagram and on Facebook. But you know, most of the people go there, and if they see something they like, they might buy it. And I think it is a lot. It's turned a lot more into a shopping place for people to buy eclectic gifts and
yeah,
eclectic collectible items, things that you're not going to just find in a store somewhere, things that are very personal and things from people that you really love and follow and care for. And those are the Kickstarters that I've backed, are where I've really been like, yes, I have backed some simply because I thought the person needed some help. The interesting thing there, and I don't know if you've experienced this, is that I would say of the probably 5 to 10 Kickstarters I've backed, because I felt, I don't want to say I felt sorry for the person, but I felt like I just felt like I really wanted to help them out,
right,
right? So I
right.
backed them at the lower level to buy their book or whatever it was their thing was. And but the thing that I've noticed is most of those never fund. Have you noticed that?
I I'm so new to Kickstarter. Like I said, I've like when people do their Kickstarters, it's like uh, I don't know what's going on. Right? I don't. Seriously, in all honesty, like I will tell you, I don't like. I am so cash. Like I am from that. I never had a bank account until I met my wife. Right. And that's on. I'm being honest. So like the idea of credit cards. I
Right.
mean, I when I was younger, I mean, I saw credit cards wreck some people, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so for me, and I was always poor, so I was like, I'm never getting one, you know. And when I married my wife, I remember we went in, and we were like we gotta figure out with your we want to buy a house, you gotta have credit, right? So we
Right.
walk in, and the dude is looking at me like he's like wow. And I'm like, what? And he's like, you're worse than bad credit. He's like, you're a ghost. You're like, there's nothing on you. He's like, we can't do nothing with you. So me, I still get high strung. Like it took me forever to be all right with my my wife is like, put my credit card out online. Like
Right.
me, I'm so nervous about that. So it's like so to me, I I'd rather go up to somebody and spend cash. I would go to a physical store, spend cash. So Kickstarter, I've watched all these people go on Kickstarter. I'm like, I want to support them, but I don't want to put my credit card up there because
Oh.
you know what I'm saying? It's like I get nervous. So I go in and I'm like, and that's just me. I'm just a nervous person. But I understand what you're saying because there's times where I've seen somebody. I'm like, I want to go on there and do that. Like
Right.
be that way, you know, to see it. But I think majority of the times you're like, it's like, to see stuff like I'm going through looking at people's, and I've been looking at them for years now, and I'm sitting here going like, where, you know, you can almost tell the difference between somebody who's like get money and somebody who's looking out there to get a genuine. And I would do the same thing. I see some people out there. It's like I see why they would be supported, right?
Right.
And so for me, you know, I try to sit and I go, well, why should anybody support me for doing a Kickstarter? Because I haven't been out there and understanding that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there's where all my tensions from even trying to sell this thing.
Right.
But there's a part of me that it's like, if this gives me the opportunity to get that book in the people's hands who said they want it, then, you know, if it was like, you know, just barely made funding, it would be like, man, that's fantastic. Because like the weight of the world off my shoulders, knowing that there was somebody out there that wanted that book and it justified me doing it, then that's it. But like right now, it's been stressed because it's like the book is made. It's already there. It's like, give it to us, you know? And it's like, but wait, you know, it's like, you know how much work went into this thing? And then it's like, you know, and it's like, there's a part of it's like, the ego takes, you know, it's like, if I put this on Blurb, I got to raise that price up. It's going to be ridiculous. And I don't feel comfortable with that at all, you know? So me, it's like, if I'm not at that point where it's like, if it funded, if it didn't fund, I really don't care, you know, because it's like, it's just the goal.
Do you really not care though?
No, like I said, okay, so let's go back. Okay, when we were talking about Comic-Cons, and we both went into Comic-Con with the exact same thing, right? I want to have fun first.
Right.
You know, but with that came, with going in with that mentality, there wasn't the idea. I mean, there was kind of the idea to make money, right?
Right.
But we both failed our first ones because of that mentality rather than,
right.
And that's why I'm saying the thing that's helped me out with this, regardless of what it is, it's like, of course I don't want to fail, but I am open to that idea because I've seen it my whole entire life. I'm sitting here going like, I want it to be reason. I just want it to be, you know, like, I'm okay with the failing part of it. I'm not, how do I say it? It's like, I don't want to get enamored with something. When what my truth is the true reason why I'm trying to put this book out there is I want to make money, right? There's a part of me that, but I want to make it like, this is reasonable. This is something that's like, here, I know it's a quality product. Quality to a certain extent, right? Like in my mind, but I'm just saying, I know it's, when I touched that book in my hands, I was sitting here going like, I want to get this to all the people who want it, but I don't want to charge a ridiculous amount. I want it to be fair, right? And so going and then doing the research, finding out how much stuff costs, those are the things that are empowering me to sit and say, it is a business type thing, right?
Right.
Rather than just saying it's just fun. That's why I'm sitting here saying, when I say I feel comfortable in failing, is because I'm arming myself with enough knowledge. You're helping me with that, right? By going through this. And that's why I'm saying, you know, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even be thinking about it, you know? I mean, I've been thinking about it, but to jump over the fence, you know, like I said, is a different thing. Go ahead.
When you gave me the book, in my mind, I was like, all right, you're going to make this, you're going to get this out to people. We're going to figure this out.
If you would have told me that, told me that day, you saw how I was. You know, it's like, you know, I was more happy just to be able to sit and say, hey, look, you know, this means something to me, and it means something to me to give it to you, you know. And it's like, I know that you would have been like, hey, I'll buy that book for you. I know you would have been that way. But the thing is it was like, to me, it's like, the people that are getting it, they know how special this book is to me. And so that's why I'm saying with the Kickstarter part of it, there's a part of me that's like, I don't know who's going to buy this thing, but I know that the people that do buy it are going to be the ones who know how special it is to me. All my fears that went into it, you know, all my insecurities. That's why I wanted to do this video. My wife's like, why do you do this video? And I'm like, I want people to understand that, you know, it's like, you know, they just see the art, you know, and get enamored with the art. And they don't get to see all the years of me, you know, nervously poring over this stuff, berating myself, sitting here going, am I good enough? You know, and even after all these years, I still say those same things. but it's like I have fun, and there's a part of me that's like, it's like I just want to appreciate it for that,
Right.
and then it's like if I could give it to everybody, I would. But there's got to come a point where it's like, you know, how do you take care of yourself? There's got to be a point where it's
Well,
like,
and okay, so that brings us to another conversation. See, you keep hitting these little notes, and I'm like, all right, this is where we got to talk about this
go.
other thing. So money in business often gets a bad rap because
Right.
the problem is that some people pervert it to a level where they worship money and they make it the number one thing in life, and they don't care who they got to step on to get
Right.
it, right? And so those types of people, and we all know them, the people who really they really only care about themselves
Right.
99.9% of the day. Um, and now, in politically right now, we're going through a time where our country's gone through some rough spots economically, and so we're having these conversations, and I feel like a lot of people really have the opinion that, if you're in business, you've got to be a bad person.
Right.
But then we're conflicted because then as artists, we go to a place like Artist Alley where we then try to sell our work. And
Right.
the one thing that I like to say is I like to replace the word money with life.
Mm-hmm.
No one has a problem with you or me or them living, right?
Right.
And in order to live, you've got to have money. So like when we're trying to be artists and actually monetize some of the things that we do, not all, but some of them, we're really trying to make sure that we can continue to survive on a logistical basis,
Right.
so that we can continue doing art. So
Right.
I don't like to apologize for selling things, but what I do try to make the distinction on is that at the same time, I never want to over promise and under deliver,
Yes.
because that's what the advertising agents industry basically has done,
Right.
um and I think as long as you're an honest person, and as long as you're true to yourself, and then I guess this also leads into the conversation of, because I always like to relate this to people who are watching this, who are looking at you
Mm-hmm.
and your insecurities, and I think some of them are probably wondering, is Mel being genuine? Is he being disingenuous? I mean, because
No, I understand that.
I know that why you have insecurities in your art, because I do too.
Right.
At every level that you achieve, you will still always have insecurities.
It's never going to go away.
It's hard for someone who's starting out or who's in the middle to understand, because they look and they see the people that they admire, and I have people that I admire, I mean, that are just so far up there, and I think, well, they can't be insecure. But then you
Right.
find out even some of them are. And so they are at every level. So when you're saying that, I think a lot of people are thinking, well, if he's insecure, what does that say about me?
Right.
And the thing that I would say to the person starting out is that everything is at a different level. And that was a question I was going to ask you.
Good.
Is every project good for Kickstarter?
In the art realm,
well, yeah. So like if someone's watching this and they're thinking, well, what could I do on Kickstarter? Maybe that's the wrong question to ask.
Right.
Maybe the question to ask is
my product good enough to be on
if
Kickstarter?
well, the question I really want to get to the heart of is, should you, if you want to make money, should you think of a project that you can do on Kickstarter? Is that backwards? Or should you think of something that you want to do or that you're already doing, keep doing it to the point where people want it, and then put it on Kickstarter? It's a kind of
Okay.
a
I see what you're
chicken and
saying.
the egg kind of a thing.
Because that's
Like,
what a lot of people would say with me. Because it's like I don't sell anything, and what, twice I've gone to Comic Cons and sold something, and so there's a rarity there for me to sell stuff. Because I'm not, it's like the local one, it's easy, but how do you sell to people? Like you said, when you have people following you and it's like, I'll buy it. And to me, it's like I'm not in that realm where it's like I've got people already telling me they'll buy it. And so it's one of those things where it's like people look at me going like, you're an idiot. You're dumb. You're an idiot. If I could do that,
because you gave it away.
No, I'm not giving anything away. It's just stacking up in my house.
Oh,
It's like
what they're saying is you're an idiot for not having
for
made
not
it
being able to make, where it's
to
I
make
have an
it.
audience. I
Right.
have an audience. It's already there, and I've had
Right.
friends that are like, why aren't you developing into it? And it's like that's the thing is for me, I spent my whole career shooting to get onto the studio and do the work for a studio, and that would be success, right? And it's like
Right.
you get there and it's not what I thought it would be. And so the last 3 years I've been trying to define what that is. What is it? When I hit those moments where I'm sitting doing my art and there's this happiness that comes over me, it's like I want to get paid for that. Because like we were talking about, it's and just like I've told my wife, it's like there's the idea. It's all money is an idea. It's your bank account is not right there in front of you. You can't pull everything right out, have it physically there in your house. It's an idea. It's sitting there. The idea is in a bank.
Right.
But a lot of people don't define what that idea means to them. They don't go, you want $1 million, what would you do with it? Most of them don't know what they would do with it. There's just an idea that if they got $1 million, they would be happy.
Right.
And so I'm shifting from that, because like I said, I sit here and I attain something that most people would be like, man, I would love to have stepped in those shoes. And I'm sitting here going like, but wait a second, I wasn't happy. For me, I had to sit and go, look and truly see what that means. So when we talk about business, that's the part of it. It's like there's a part of me that sits and says, I don't want it to make it a business because I've watched people who go from that moment to where they're, hey man, I didn't get a paycheck, to becoming a business who's like, man, we don't have the funds to pay you.
Right.
Right. But there's a bunch of people that have a bunch of money up top. And then all of a sudden, it's like the people who are doing the work get hurt, and it's a cycle that continues to happen. So I sit and I say, it's like, do I want to go back to that? And it's like, no, I don't. It's not good for me as a creative.
Right.
And so my thinking is it's like, like we've talked, it's like I tell people, define what it is that you want. Don't think of it as being ridiculous. Do you know what
Right.
I'm saying? Where it's like, for the longest time, I didn't become an artist because I thought it was ridiculous because my environment didn't nurture that. My environment didn't say, Mel, be an artist. They were going like, you're stupid. What is this? How do you get paid for this? This is what my environment was telling me. Then as the years go on, and I'm like, you know what? Just do it. Don't do it for the love of it. And don't let the negativity, understand even where the negativity is coming from. Don't just sit here and go, like, oh, this person hurt my feelings for it. Understand the reason why is because it's like everybody pushes and they have their ideas about what something is rather than defining what that idea is for themselves. So money, we look at money and a lot of people are like, oh, you know what? Money is the root of all evil. But it's like, no, it's what the person does with the money. What are you doing with the money? And my thing is I've sat there and my wife has taught me, it's like I used to eat the 29-cent can of tuna, and I used to rock that stuff. Oh man, I love that stuff. And my wife got the solid white albacore, what is this? I can't go back. I can't go back to the 29-cent can of tuna. It's like, whoa, there's something there. To want something more for yourself is just natural. Like you're saying, that's where we're ingrained in each individual to sit and say, I want something more. And I think a lot of people, when they get into business, they don't have the true perspective of what they need to sit and say, what the more that you getting, what is that more that you're getting? Whereas it's like if you sit and you go, I want to get better with the purpose of me getting better is going to make me a better person, then let me see how far I can get. What kind of person could I be? How many people's lives could I touch? And that's what I started realizing with success. It was like my art means something more. When I got into it, I was like, I knew it was for me and it was selfish. And I knew I had to go to that selfish moment, right? I had to sit here and go like, because all the worry about my wife, all the worry about my kid, it's like I worry about them. But the thing is that worry puts me in a spot, right? And they're going to worry about me and it just keeps going. But when I sit and I go, okay, do the art, feel good about yourself in some aspect of your life, give it to yourself, right? Not about how good is this piece of art, but give yourself the ability to say, you're truly blessed because you understand the time that you get to do your art is a gift.
Oh, totally.
Right? It's like, and that's where I think a lot of businesses will sit here and you know, take advantage of that, because a lot of artists haven't built up enough self-esteem, right? They don't build up enough self-esteem. They say, I want somebody to sit here and say my art is good enough. I need to hear it out loud that somebody says my art is good enough for me to be able to do this, or I won't do it, right? But that's why I said it's like schools don't teach you that, to nurture that, to get you to the point where it's like you have the self-esteem. But to understand what you want and say, you know, it's not about how do you get to this end goal, like we were talking, like the Kickstarter thing. It's like when I came over to your house that day and we talked about it, I came to you because I was like, I want to find a way to sell my art. I want to do it in a way that I feel good about. And I was sitting here going like, I'm gonna go start an online store, and you're like, Mel, what are you doing? Your book. And I'm like, yeah, but it's gonna be print and this and that and the other. I mean, I was still even in that mode. But the more we talked, the more information that I got from you, right? Sits here and made me think about it. When I went home that night, I was like, Will is right. It's not, I even in my mind am sitting here going like, is it being greedy going on Kickstarter? But it's not. I want to make money off of this. I want to be able to get it to the people who want it and feel good about it. And it's like, when I say it out loud like that, when I truly say, it's already a success in my mind. If it gets funded, that's not the success to me, right? That's honestly my thinking on it. Is my success is being able to sit and say, I know what I want. Regardless if it fails, I know what I want and I have to go for it. And that to me is the blessing out of it, right?
And maybe that's maybe that's actually the most important point is, and that's what I had actually put in my Kickstarter video, is that the project that I decided to do is already successful because of the amount of people that I engaged with it, that found value in it. So for me, I've already been paid as an artist to art appreciator, or artist to artist, is the gift that was given and received and appreciated. That's where I think, and that's kind of where I was ultimately going with this, is I don't think you're ready to do a Kickstarter until you've gotten to that point.
Yes.
Because I think the Kickstarter amplifies the success you've already had in giving away your gift for free.
Yes.
Okay, so you've been giving these gifts away for free, and people are saying to you, no, we want to pay you money for the book. Like, we will buy the, I mean, I'm not exaggerating, but lots of people have been saying, when can I, and some of them have been mad at you for not doing the book, for not getting it out there. And that's, I didn't have anything like that on my first Kickstarter, right? In fact, on this one, I'll say, the Kickstarter was never okay. So, and I've talked about this. I did a whole series on Comic-Cons, a playlist that I'm still updating. But basically, in a nutshell, it was, hey, how can I join in the fun? Because I saw you there at Comic-Con. I saw, all the other friends there. I saw all the guys from Avalanche, Matt Armstrong and all those guys. And I was like, wow, these guys are having fun. They're making their stuff. They're putting it out there. I should be doing this. And that's really where the genesis was for me to start doing it. And then I got, maybe 20 or 30 characters in, and somebody online said, you ought to put these in a book. That was the first time that I thought about it. So it wasn't, and that's where I'm trying to, my leading questions before were about, I think if you say, I want to make money, so I need to think of a project that I can sell on Kickstarter,
right,
I think you're probably going to fail.
No, that's how my book was the exact same thing. Right. When I'm doing it, it was like, everybody's like, when are you gonna do a book? When are you gonna do a book? Exactly. I put it out. I'm like, I've been trying to do a book for forever. And it was like, I was sitting here telling them, like, what do I put out there? What is it that I have no idea? And then when it hit, because it was like, one of the things is I was like, we've talked, it's like mostly everything that I draw is women. And it's like, they're tough to draw. Right. And so I wanted to make that one book. I was like, because I was killing myself what to put in it. Like, what am I going to put, what things? And I was like, just stick with those. Just, just with the women, volume 1, and just be like, right, those are my dukes, and just put it up. It was like dukes. Those are the dukes. There's my insecurity. All my insecurity is going to be in this book, and it's the story. That's why I'm saying it.
Which doesn't look insecure at all.
Well, and that's what I said. That's why it's like, that's why I'd like to talk to people face to face about it. When you meet me up front and it's like, you see, and people see, me, you told, what was that? You told How do you get away from Mel once he starts talking?
Oh
Right?
no,
Right?
busted.
Right. Well, no. And the thing is that because I'm nervous. Like when I talk, I'm nervous because it's like I don't like the silence. I don't like people being uncomfortable. I'm like I. But on top of that, I use the energy that I have for my art. You know, like from when I'm sketching, it's like I'm this excited. That's why I was sitting here telling people when they see me and they go, "Why would you be drained from Comic Con?" Because I'm like this excited. And then when I come out of it, it's like you ate cotton candy for a week,
Right. It's
right?
like,
And then all of a sudden you got to eat a vegetable tomorrow. It's like you come crashing hard.
oh
And so
yeah.
like those kind of conventions for me, that's what happens to me is because it's like I spent the first after the first con, I remember after the third day, I just sat in my wife's lap and cried for 45 minutes because it was just too much, right? And so that's why I said it's like to me it's like you put your art out there, I share my art with this much passion all the time because it is important. I
Right.
want people to understand, but I had to start with me. It's like I can't say that for anybody else. I know that I have to define what's important to me, right? And it's
Yeah.
like I said, we all get to that point where it's like my family is important, you know, and taking care of my family is important. But in the same sense, it's like, you know, you're an individual in that equation. And it's like if you're not taking care of yourself, when I'm going wrong, and I had a rough winter, you know, and there was a part that, you know, that it taxes you because it's like here I am, I'm supposed to be this happy artist, but my life is not feeling that way, right? And
Yeah.
it becomes this mind screw when in all actuality it's the same thing. It's my art is my life. And it's like, you know, if I gave up on my art, and my wife has sat there and said that to me the other day, she says, when you're not doing it, you're not being you.
That's right.
When you're not doing it, it's actually worse for them than it is for me. And I found myself in that mode over the winter, you know?
Think of how many artists are stuck in a job that they don't like,
Right.
that don't have that haven't figured out a way to be able to carve out the time to
But
do
that's
these kinds of
but that's
projects.
the thing, right? It's like when I first started, when I got serious, right? And ever since that moment that I sat there and said, when I was like, I want to be a professional artist. When I sat down, not because years before that, my whole growing up when I was younger, I automatically assumed I'd be an artist because I was considered, you know, like everybody around me was stroking the ego enough. Well, you're a good artist,
Mhm.
but I never was like, let me put that in a pro. Let me set that up to be next to a pro. Never had to do it, but that was always it was that warm blanket kept me comfortable. I don't want to get out of this, but you know, like I said, when I met my wife, I was like, man, I missed out on something. Can I push myself at this point? From that moment, when I sat there and said, can I push myself as an artist, without anybody else telling me that? You know, I had to work crap jobs. I didn't have, you know, like I said, when I went out on a date with my wife, you want to go to dinner or a movie. It wasn't couldn't afford anything. But one thing I knew, it was like I need to do this. It wasn't can I do it? Might
Yeah.
I do it? It was I have to do it. And it wasn't that have to do it towards, oh, I have to do this. No, it was have to do it, get your game face on. And
Yeah.
there is no complaining about it. And so it was, like I said, 15 minutes a day. I always put myself at that moment where it's 15 minutes a day. Wherever it is that you are, start there first. And from that point on, there's always a 15 minutes in my day that I'm creating something, even if it's just scribbles. It's
Yeah.
like scribble. It's something there.
And
But then,
you were doing that even when you had the job, right? You had time to
yeah,
do
even when I
you.
got to the job, everybody that's
Right.
known me over the years, when I
Right.
was at work, regardless of whatever company I was at, as soon as I hit the door, before I started anything in the morning, I was drawing every morning, especially when I got into the career. And I used to be weirded out by people who couldn't find the time to do it afterwards, right? Especially like people who've been
Right.
in the industry for a long time. And I've had this conversation with you. I'm like, I don't understand. If you want to do this and get better, then how come you're not doing it? But again, I can only what I realized for myself, it's I saw what's important for me. I can't see what's important for somebody else,
Right.
right? And so you know, like I said, when I had a daughter, all of a sudden my world went out of whack. Because I was sitting here going like, wait a second, Will, you're at home. How? What? You're doing work from home, you know? And when we were talking the other day, you're like, I don't have a 5-year-old. You know, it's like, now it makes sense, you know, because like life is going to come at you. But with life coming at you, you still have those different choices to make. And that's why I was sitting here going like, you know, especially now more so the last 3 years, it's just been, who am I doing it for? It's for me. Who are you doing it for? It's for me. Who are you doing it for? It's for me. And it's like, I am not giving this up. I'm not gonna, it's not, I have to do it.
Right.
I don't know. I know the thing that keeps me doing it is I know it makes me a better person. It makes me sit here and greet people differently. It makes me see the insecurity in other people. It makes me understand, you know, regardless of whatever somebody's complaining about, there's a reason why they're complaining. It's because they're not addressing something, right? I can see it on somebody else, you know, and what can I do? In the grand scheme of things, what can I do? And that's why I'm like, my art, I've watched people come up to me and just be like, you know, Mel, just you doing your stuff every day has made me look at things differently. And to me, that's power. That's, and I'm not like a greedy type of power, but that sits here and makes me go, I'm doing something that's just for me. But now somebody else might want to be doing something better for themselves and getting a little bit of self-esteem and moving forward in their lives. And to me, it's like, wow, that's what I want. I want to be that. I want to be for myself, you know, strong enough for myself to continue to give myself the gift to sit and people go like, I deserve that too. I want that too. And it's not, and it's like, if you want money, well, don't think of it as the money, but being able to sit and say, what are the experiences you want with that money? What do you want to do with it? How do you want to take care of your family? What kind of experiences do you want to have?
Well, you're not tallying up your hours on your sketches, right? You don't have any idea how long it takes you.
I think I get asked the question quite a bit, you know, and usually, you know, when my daughter's in school, I'll have 45 minutes to a couple of hours, just depending on how she is. She'll usually give me some time, you know, I'll go play over here by myself and I'll be, and let me go, you know?
Right.
And there's moments when I'm in that mode that I think it's been a great, I think when you don't have time, right? I think it's just as much like a failure when you don't have time and it's like, I can't create that perfect thing, right? But you got time. It's like, if you go into it knowing you can't create that perfect thing, but you still take advantage of that time, what can you learn in that time? You know, and for the next time, I can't wait. No, I can wait. That's why I'm trying not to jump forward. You know, like the hard part is like I said, like this is a special time that I get to see my dogs, you know. But there's a point of me that's like, what could I do if I went back? Like if I went back to an 8-hour job, what could I do in 8 hours just straight?
Right.
I could like I've been sprinting for so long that it's like, you know, but short bursts. So I'm like, well, if you could slow me down and just let me do it, what would I do? What would that be like? But that's what I'm trying not to get caught up, because as somebody who's like, what's important? What's important is it's like, I know the art is a creative part, but my family's the important part. It's the part that it's like, it's who I wanted to be. You know, second to being an artist is I wanted to be this person for my family.
You also have to be happy as a person in order to be a good dad and a good husband.
I'm horrible on both ends for those.
Yeah, but
no, but I know what you're saying.
Time on your own is so important to make sure that that's happening. And I think a lot of artists, and this happened to me when I was living in California. I got to that point where I was just drawing for my assignment work, and then when that was done, I was like, that's it, I'm done. And the thing is, the assignment work kills a lot of times, not always, but a lot of it, it kills your artistic sensibilities, and you know, you're slugging it out. You know how it is when you've been on projects that you're like, you're not being appreciated for your contributions. You're being heavily art directed, and at that point you're like, well, I'm just I might as well be a carpenter. No offense to carpenters, but like when you're told all the instructions and you have to nail it together, you're not the artist anymore. And that's fine. And I'm not knocking work. I'm not knocking client work. I'm not knocking the assignments. I've been very grateful for every assignment I've ever gotten and will continue to get. But at the same time, it's in a different realm of the free experimentational time that you have, which is what I see a lot of your stuff being.
Well, and see, but the thing is I think with that same, it's, you know, because we all have that idea. I want to work and be a creative for a living, right? I want to be a creative, make money when we first start out. And it's like if we're not doing something creative for a living, then you watch people like, I'm working this crap job, right? And it's like, well, no, it's like where I'm at right now. It's like I want to create from this happy place. And the thing is if my wife was going like, oh man, we need you to work, and I wasn't working, I'd be like, I'm over at Walmart, I'm a greeter at Walmart. If that's the job I could get. No, seriously, I would sit here and handle what I'm trying to condition myself is to handle that job like it is my art job.
Right.
Right? Because it's like I said, it's like I know that if I'm a Walmart greeter, hey dude, how you doing? First face. You come in through Walmart. I mean, it doesn't seem like much, but it's like, there's still what is your perspective on that job?
Right.
And there was a lady, I went to go help my dad out in California, and I was at Walmart. And I mean, if you would have looked at her, she would have been the perfect subject to draw. I mean, just as wacky as you can get. Really, you had all these little doodads, old lady, but she had this smile on her face. As soon as I hit Walmart and walked in there, I mean, she lit the whole place up. And I was sitting here going, I stopped, and my sister, me and my sister walking, I stopped, and I'm like, you are phenomenal. Because there's so many people that run around with, your type of job that are like, this is miserable. And but she was content. She was
Right.
like, greeted every single person with the same passion as she did for anybody. And anybody could come in, you wear that face and people and try to bring her down. And you could tell that she was like, this is my job and I appreciate it. And, and I think that's the thing is like artists get into being an artist. And in the initial, it's like this idea of being an artist. Like you're going to automatically get, everybody's going to love you and be enamored with your work. No, it's not going to be that way. Right. So you got to find out and reach down deep within yourself to sit and say, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? And if you go, I love this, and so I look at it, it's like if you got a job and people go, this is a crap job. It is a crap job. You're right. Because you got this, and like we were saying, you watch those people at Comic-Con when they got that face. Oh, how are you supposed to sell? So,
but how am I supposed to be happy if nobody's buying my stuff?
But that's the thing. I think the thing is you can be like, I think people gravitate towards the happy part of it, right? I think we all are, the sunshine. It's like sunshine, it's like, man, the sun comes out, dude. I got to be outside. My body starts like calling for me. Wintertime, I don't want to be here. So to me, it's almost like that attitude, so you watch people who are like, I'm working this crap job. Guess what? It's my winter. Right. And I was looking, I was going like, I had a horrible winter. But I say that every year. I have a horrible winter. One of these years, I'm going to try to make it a point to be like, I'm out in the mountains with Will in the winter, frolicking in the snow, right? Because the thing is there is magic to the snow. But in my mind, when I sit and I go, oh man, winter's coming, and it makes me depressed, I'm actually fulfilling that, Yeah. And so I look and I'm like, I think for artists, it's like, if you want to be a creative, then you have to appreciate the job that you're at. May not be the greatest job, but you have to look at it for what it truly is. It gives you something. It gives you a roof over your head. It pays your bills. It gives you these things that you should be thankful for.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you can be thankful for that moment, then all of a sudden you're saying, I'm ready for this job to come back. Because the art job is also not going to be the funnest, greatest thing every day, right? So
you can't really appreciate having the freedom without having had the constraints put on you, though,
Yes.
right? I mean, like, so, and that's the thing that's, I think, hard for someone maybe who does come from means, who really doesn't have to work. I'm not saying you, because you were out there I mean, you slugged it out for many. I mean, I know your history of all the different jobs and stuff that you've had to do, and so
poor health, the fear of poor health,
But I mean, you have to have those opposites in order to get to a place where I think you can put everything in perspective and go, wow. And that's kind of where I am right now. I'm in a point where I can spend some of my time working on a project that, like this one, little, that doesn't have a deadline, that doesn't have an art director, and I appreciate that so much more than when I was, let's say, when I was in high school, and I could draw anything I wanted, right? I could draw anything I wanted, and yet I wasn't hardworking. I avoided the things that I wasn't good at. I didn't seek out feedback. I didn't seek out perfection, and all those things come from having those other experiences.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and that's I think a lot of the times it's I am the most horrible because I like to give advice on that subject. You know, like when I go
Yeah.
talk to artists or artists say, hey, give me your advice. You know, they'll say I want technique, and I'll be like, no, I'm not going to give you technique. I'll give you this up here. I'll give you thinking. Listen to how I think. You know, because that's what you're going to be at. You're going to be thinking. You have to think and understand yourself first and foremost. And it's like I can give you techniques all day long, but if you don't understand what you're using with that, how it fits in your world, it doesn't matter what I tell you,
Right.
right? But it's like there's a part of me because of everything that I've gone through, how sensitive I am for myself. Man, why wouldn't I have listened, right? What was I thinking? How come how you know I know that there's a lot of this stuff that I tell people that I wouldn't have heard at that time either, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, but how do you get to that? And I think the way you get to people like that, that's why I'm sitting here saying for myself, I use my excitement because I sit and I go, people will go like, there's got to be something to it if you're excited, right?
Yeah.
Why is he so excited about this? You know, you look at anybody that's into anything, it's like you see how excited they are. I want that excitement. I want that in my life.
Yeah.
I want that happiness, right?
You know, I would suggest that a lot of the happiness that you are getting, and I would say the same for myself, is once you get to, you remember when you I think it was Ira Glass that had come out with a quote about how artists, and there's no way I can quote it, but it was basically the idea that when you start out, you have this vision of what you want to create, but you don't have the raw skills to be able to even get close to it. So everything you produce is a letdown, right?
Right.
Because you can see it, you can see this amazing thing,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't do it. And then you get to a level eventually where you can, and it just gets so much more fun, doesn't
The
it?
will level. The
No,
will
no,
level. I
no.
haven't
The
attained that
Mel
yet.
level,
I haven't got.
the Maleficent level.
I haven't gotten to that level, you know, where I make it rain, you know. No, I completely. It's like the thing is that I know, and we can go. That doesn't go away. That
Right.
doesn't. But in the same sense, you're right because now it's. I think even though I still have a lot of energy about it, I've slowed down. Like
Hmm.
I'm not in a rush to sit and go, you know, because like I said, there's that. I want to get on a studio. I want to do this. I want to make something. I want to mean something, right? And we're in that rush. You know, get married, and I'm like, I set all these goals and this and that and the other. But you know, I'm slowly starting to realize the older I get, it's like, man, I needed this. I needed to slow down,
Hmm.
not speed up. I need to slow down, be mindful of those choices. And it's like I notice it's the exact same thing when I do my art. It's like I want to rush in my art. In the beginning, I want to rush through it. I want to blaze through it. And I still kind of have that mentality, but now it's like pour over it, analyze it, look for, you know, look at the things that you find. Hey, there's the appeal. Can you you know, pull that out again? You know, what did you do wrong? Keep
Right.
that in your, you know, analyze it and then analyze it for me. You know, it's like instead of trying to analyze it, is this what the market's going to want? Is this what people are going to want? No, go from you first and build that confidence to sit and say what it is that I'm putting out there. I feel comfortable with. It may not be perfect, but I'm comfortable with it. You can come in and say, Mel, you know, you did a crap job. You know, oh well. You know what? Oh well. You know, it's I want to be that. I want to be able not the oh well like not the oh well like I don't care, but the oh well I know I can do better. You know I give myself harsher criticisms than anybody else does, but I'm okay with me giving that hard, and I'm okay with anybody else because anybody else beyond me is still much slighter than what I'm giving myself. And so it's like I have fun. I'm like, hey, you know what? I didn't like that, but you got to a point where you let it go. Hey, you did it because you know the next one is going to be even better, and then the next one's going to be even better, and then guess what? Then there's going to be a poop one in the middle of that, right? And there's going to be a
Yeah.
one that's going to be like totally poopy, and you're going to be like, where did that come from? Then I start analyzing what's going on with me emotionally. You know, like where am I emotionally? That's where I'm like, look at my emotions are a great state for that. You know, where eventually I can do so much art, but if I don't balance it all out, I can see where the push is, where I try to force them, right?
Right.
So
Right.
it's like it's understanding yourself in the grand scheme of things as an artist, and that's why I'm like most artists focus on the wrong things rather than sit and say, what can you do to improve yourself, not just the art, but yourself, because the happier you are, the more you sit and you go, hey, you know what? I know that by me doing this is gonna make me a better person, make me everybody around me a better person. You'll keep adding the fuel for that, you know. And then it's like you have a bad day, it's like a bad drawing. Then you understand it's part of the process. Winter is gonna come, right? Winter's gonna come. It's okay because when summer comes, I'm dancing around, and Will is the opposite, right?
Well, coming into your season,
Right.
maybe
I'm
that's
here.
the thing to wrap it up on is
Right.
that this has been a great conversation, and we got good weather coming, but I mean, if you're watching this again right now, that means my Kickstarter's launched. It means that yours is about to, or it could mean that both of them have
I
already
chickened
come and
out.
gone, or you've chickened. We're gonna do a follow-up, right? We're gonna do a follow-up.
Yes. No,
And
I
even
want to do.
if you chicken out, that'll be even more interesting because then we get
Then you
to
could break me on there.
we get to analyze you, and
Yeah. What
maybe
was
we'll
wrong
do
with
that
you?
one. Maybe we'll do that one live so other people can chat with us.
Yeah.
And,
I have my tissue. I'm
and
crying.
you'll see like the hundreds of people going, "Where's the book, Mel?" The thousands, I mean, the thousands of people.
5 people. You guys already got it.
For every
You guys
person,
are.
you know what? I think on or on YouTube and Facebook and stuff, when someone makes a comment, I think there's probably 20 people behind them thinking the same thing. You know what I mean?
No, we'll say that again.
So if somebody says, "Mel, where's your book? I want to buy it." There's 20 people behind them thinking the same thing that aren't going to write it.
Right. No, I
You know.
see, but that's, you know, in the same sense, there's all the people who say, "Hey, I buy that book." You know, there's a bunch of people who are like, "Hey, I'll say it just so I can feel supportive," right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it could go either way. We you know, as individuals, we can't figure that out.
Says the person who gets 800,000-900,000 likes on Facebook. I've never seen that before.
Whatever. It's all the time. It's all the time.
Not from anybody that I know.
Well, see, this is what happens, Will. You know that money I don't have, I use that to get Facebook likes. That's where all my money's going. I'm like, dude, what can I make me so I can be like Will? I'll just pay for it. You know? So like I said, I think with that, I'm glad we're doing this. I was really excited about talking today about the Kickstarter stuff, because regardless if I feel like I have to do it now. I'm trying to figure out how I can back out of it. You know, like, wait a second, what have I done? No, I did want to do this so that I could have that. Look, I set out. Here's a goal, and be accountable for that goal. It's nice to have somebody there who's like, hey, look, you know, it's regardless of what way this goes, you know, I appreciate your support in this. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, you don't have to be this way. You don't have to tell me your insecurities. You can go and I'm like, oh, Big Will, he did it. You know what I'm saying? Because we all do that. You know, so that's why I said I wanted to be able to say, you know, thanks to you, you know, with your videos and the way that you sit and it's much more than just selling. You know, I just like you were saying, somebody's on the back end going, you know, if somebody says I want your book, I'm sitting here saying thanks, Will, because I know that there's a bunch of people behind that thank you that would be like, Will, you know, you don't have to tell everybody your numbers, you don't have to tell everybody your process, you don't have to do those things.
Yeah.
But I know you do it because, you know, it's like, I know that that's what you would want for yourself as an artist, as a creative. Yeah. And I think that to me is the power of being a creative that I didn't understand, you know.
Well, I am eternally inspired by people who help other people without any compensation, you know.
Right.
The charitable acts that you see people do every day, you know, little things. But that's what inspired me. In fact, and I don't know if I've talked about this. I think I've talked about this on this channel before, but really, you know, I never set out. I think sometimes people set out, again, you set out to make a bunch of money.
Right.
That's the wrong way. And what's funny is if you had asked me that when I was in school, I would have said the exact opposite answer. I would have said,
money.
Well, of course you have to set out to make money. Aren't we all here to make money, isn't it?
Right.
But the genesis of this YouTube channel was I kept getting asked from people, just people would email me, or they would on Facebook, they would ask me questions. And a lot of it was because I had started teaching online before SVS, and I know that people are always like, they're like, you snuck it in there again. But No, the first videos that I put out generated a lot of questions, and the more efficient way to answer them was to actually make a video, because I would get the same questions asked over and over, and so they would ask me to. What I felt they were asking was me to type out an answer that would take, probably because I'm long-winded,
Right.
5 to 10 paragraphs. Well, I don't have time to type out a 5 to 10 paragraph email to respond to you, but I can set up the camera and talk, because I talk easier than I type, and then I can send that anytime somebody asks me that question. I send them links. So that's what I do a lot of times during the day. When somebody asks a question, I'm like, oh, I already made a video on that. Bam. I just say, this is what I would tell you if we were in the same room. I wouldn't give you any different answer than this.
Right.
And I think people have appreciated that, and that's kind of where this whole channel got going. And then lo and behold, I found out I like to talk, and my wife is like, you know why you like to talk into that camera? It's because no one can interrupt you. And I'm like, busted.
Yeah, and if I talk about Apple stuff, you can edit it, right?
Right. Absolutely. I can put up a picture of Maleficent.
Oh yeah, no. That's what I said. That's why I said I know you as an artist would like to help people, but it becomes, I try to explain to someone why it's so draining, because you want to help, but a lot of the times you can get a lot of answers from one source, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like having a video. Now you have something. You're like, I know I'm helping people, and the people that are asking it that weren't there have a video to go back and watch it. See, like I don't have the video, so I'll get a lot, and I'm like, man, I want to sit here and help these people. Then like I sit and sob.
Well, you have a webcam.
Yeah, but I'm not Big Will. I'm Maleficent, like I can't be all Big Will. I'm not, I like these where it's like, what is this? This is like, what, 3 years ago we did one?
Yeah, I know.
There's 2 videos, although I had somebody else come over do a video, so that's, but I don't know what's going on with that one.
Oh yeah, you just got an interview from a pretty big.
Yeah, so that would be a pretty fun one.
So,
I don't,
no
I leave it alone. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even remember what I said, but I had fun.
I bet it'll look good.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I think everybody else will look good. I think I'm a mess, dude. I had a rough winter, let me tell you. So
all right, so let's reconvene.
Okay,
either on the day that yours launches, or a week after, or something like that, or a day or two after, or something like that.
Because I think it'll probably be your midpoint.
So maybe when you've broken $1 million, we'll reconvene.
After I counted $1 million from your first day, once I see that $1 million number that you made on your first day.
You can console me when mine doesn't fund, and then I'll have to sit there and watch your numbers going up.
No, because I already see. This is why I'm doing it after. Just like as soon as all the money's gone from the internet, then there'll be no reason for me to do.
Oh man,
Mr. Terry.
All right,
always a pleasure, sir.
So yeah, so if you guys are interested in the links, like if you're watching this post April 2016, you can see how our Kickstarters did by checking the links, and you can go to Kickstarter and you click on campaign, and you can see how much it funded, because the thing about YouTube videos is they last for years, right?
Yeah.
So this isn't just about this week or this month or next month. It's some people are going to come to this a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 or 20, who knows? Like, isn't that crazy to think about, that somebody could watch this 20 years from now?
I think the thing is this is you. I think, like I said, this is going to be a great, just to see the difference between, later on down the road when we were talking about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where I was sitting here going like, remember how I didn't have money and now I lost my home? Will, we've got a moment in time that we can go back to and be like, see. There's that moment that Will had talked you into it. If Will said jump off a bridge, would you do it?
It's all fun. It's all fun stuff to be able to
Right.
go back and look at this stuff, though.
No.
We're in uncharted territory when it comes to the internet, and again, this is just a journey for me. This whole thing.
That's why I said I want to see, like our conversation when you're midway, and then you'll get to see how nervous I am, right? you'll be midway, and then it's like I think you'll be alleviated from a lot
We
of that.
could
So
do
I'm
this.
interested.
We could do this live. Check this out. Here's an idea. We
What do you
probably
mean
won't.
live?
Probably won't
Like,
do it, but it's an idea.
what do you mean?
We launch a live stream,
Uh-huh.
and then you go on Kickstarter and pull the trigger, and then we'll just
Right.
sit here having a
The
conversation.
countdown. We have a countdown.
Watching the numbers move so fast that they're blurry.
Oh, when yours opens, yeah.
No, on
Let's
yours.
do that.
No, on yours.
because your numbers will be like when you have that clock, it's just flipping, and then you got like 6 digits like this, and there's only one not moving, because it's so far out in the millions. Yeah. Okay.
I think we're having this conversation this is like to help prevent the fear from kicking in. Like, oh no.
No,
Not fun at all.
I think it helps because, like I
Sorry.
said, if I don't joke. See, everybody's like, "Hey, you got your Kickstarter started?" Look, they're calling already. You're right? Oh, well, come on. Is it open? It's up. Let's go. Take my money. I'm throwing it at the screen. Here. No, that's the other thing.
That's a cool idea, though. We could do that. I'd be willing to do that because the pressure would be all on you, not on me.
Right. See, I love it. You came up with that.
We'll share your screen,
right.
and we'll watch you pull the trigger. That'd be awesome.
You know what?
I bet nobody's done that. You could be the first person in human history to do that.
I might do that. I might, and just because it would be fun just to have something, because a video to watch later on, like just to sit, because it's going to be a monument. The rest of it, I really don't. It's like when I did Comic-Con, it was that when I set out to do Comic-Con, that first one, and then the third day, like when I recalled back, during my 45 minutes, I was recalling that first moment, that it was like, here's that goal. And it was a huge one for me. It was huge, and it was like, man, it felt good. I would love, like to be able to sit, and if I could have gone back and record that moment as I was carrying my stuff in, right? Just to be able to sit and say, here it is, this is that moment. And then to be able to go back and see how happy I was in that moment. It's not even the moment of, like I said, I went broke. Like I was like making no money. But in that moment, I go back. And even now, anytime that I'm sitting here going, like when I'm having a hard day, it's like I have that moment with me. I'm carrying all those things in there and that nervous energy and going like, why am I doing this? Because it was a goal. It was a goal. You deserve this goal regardless of whatever happens. And the happiness I got out of it, I deserve that. And I took that, and it's been something I've been using for a while now. It's like having a hard time. Here it is. So if we want, we probably should. It would be neat. We should have probably done it for years.
We'll talk about it.
Well, why don't we? Yeah, because I think that would be a neat moment.
I'd be all for it, but then again, the pressure's not on me. But I think it'd be fun to watch you. No, here, let's talk it through. So what you do is we will launch a live stream. We tell people what's going to happen, and then you pull the trigger. And then I'm not talking you into this. I'm just talking like this is how I see it. And then you get on Instagram while we're live streaming. Hold on, I got to put this out on Instagram, and you put it on Facebook, and you put it. You're not on Twitter though, are you?
No. Dude, I stopped at Instagram.
I throw you under the bus on Twitter, and there's no way you can retaliate.
I know.
I put stuff out there all the time.
I know you do, and I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. That's what I said. I thought we were a buddy movie, right? But in all actuality, Will's throwing me under the bus.
There's always a good guy and a bad guy in everybody's system.
Of course.
I'll be the bad guy.
That's all right, and you do it so well. So, the thing is, I'm sitting here coming up. I'm literally like, can I come up with something mean? Look what I came up with. It was like buddies. Mine's all happy-go-lucky. I had to throw me in with it, right?
All right, man.
Hey, think about it. Think about doing yours.
Yeah.
Think about doing that, because it would be like I said.
You want to do one? You want to do another one, maybe? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we do yours. Well, oh wait. So this is going. Oh, because this is going.
Well, I was going to launch this. I was going to launch this right at the moment that I pull the trigger. Okay. This is really weird. This is like Inception, isn't it? Yeah. Like we're having like Inception moments. Like now we're talking like, is this video going to launch before the live video where I launched the thing, but then this is in front, and then yours is coming in live. Yeah.
Right. Why don't we? Well, we should just record it for prosperity's sake. You don't have to. maybe it's something we could show at the end.
That's true. We could do it and then
Record it,
never
and
release it. If we launch mine and it's like, and I tweet everything out there and then nothing happens, right? And it's like,
that's
okay,
not
so we're waiting. So I'm trying to have a conversation and nothing's happening. Maybe this is a bad idea.
What's that? Well, hey, you know what? I just look at. I think just having that, it's like the first dollar bill, right?
I'll tell you what. When I launch mine, you get on and buy the book while we're on there, and I'll do the same for you.
Okay.
And that way that we won't get a shutout. We won't get stiffed.
All right. No, that'd be good. Let's do that. This is, like I said, it's just like a little goal, because we have our other underlying bet, but we got to do that same thing though. We got to make
a secret bet.
Yeah. So we'll see how that one goes. So, but with that secret bet, I'm like, hey, you know what? We need to make a bet on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll make that bet.
I'll say this: our little bet is based on how well Mel is going to do. Because
I got that bet for you.
Let's do that. Because I have more faith in you than you do.
You do, because I don't have that. That doesn't take a whole lot, Will. Right? I'm sitting here going like, I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna do it. Like I said, you're thanks for it. So
okay, we've been trying to wrap this up for 30 minutes. We'll be done, man, and then we will reconvene either on my launch day or on yours or sometime in the future. And I will add these videos to a playlist too, so anybody coming to it after the fact, it'll be kind of cool. You don't know what's going to happen in the next episode.
Right.
We're not even playing any teasers for the next episode.
Okay.
We're not filming this season all ahead of time, right?
What we should do is just everybody that we know that does a Kickstarter, we just throw them and we make a film about it.
That's right.
Right? Because I think there's a couple other people I know that are like, how about do this Kickstarter? Let's just have a slew of people, and then we can say, see how nervous you were? See?
You know how you could have made your fortune is a documentary on, or at least an episode on the guy who launched potato salad on Kickstarter.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been
like beforehand.
On that one. Awesome.
I'm gonna post. I wonder if he documented anything like that. All right, Mr. Cherry. Best of luck to you, even though you don't need it. I mean, the millions have already rolled in while we were saying goodbye.
All right, until next time, brother.
All right, be good.
You too.